In the heart of Tokyo, there once lived a man named Fumio. By all traditional measures, he was successful. He had a stable job, a nice apartment, and shelves filled with books, gadgets, and souvenirs from years of travel. But inside, he felt a growing emptiness. His possessions, instead of bringing him joy, became silent reminders of how little happiness they truly provided. One day, while moving apartments, Fumio realized he had 20 boxes of belongings, yet he could only recall what was inside 2 of them. The rest? Forgotten, yet dragged along from place to place, like invisible weights chained to his back. That single moment of awareness changed everything. He asked himself, if I don't even remember owning these things, why am I holding on to them? This simple question sparked a transformation. Fumio began to let go of what he didn't need: clothes, furniture, decorations, even long-forgotten gifts. Each item released felt like a burden lifted. What he discovered wasn't loss, but freedom. Minimalism, he realized, wasn't about having less. It was about making space for more clarity, more peace, more life. Minimalism is often misunderstood. Many people think it means living in an empty house with white walls, owning only 1 pair of shoes, or giving up all forms of comfort. But that's not what minimalism truly is. Minimalism is the art of removing the excess in order to focus on what really matters. It's not about deprivation, it's about intention. Every object you own, every commitment you make, every distraction you allow into your life either serves you or weighs you down. Minimalism asks the simple but powerful question: does this add value to my life, or is it just taking up space? At its core, minimalism is a shift in perspective. It's the realization that happiness doesn't come from accumulating more, but from appreciating enough. In a world where advertisements constantly tell us that the next purchase will finally make us whole, minimalism stands as a quiet rebellion. It reminds us that the things we own often end up owning us, and that true freedom comes not from filling our lives with possessions, but from freeing ourselves of what we don't need. Minimalism, then, isn't about less, it's about more of the right things. When most people hear the word minimalism, they imagine monks living in bare rooms, sleeping on the floor, and surviving on nothing but rice and water. Others picture it as a trend for wealthy people who can afford to throw things away, only to replace them with expensive, minimalist, designer furniture. These are the most common misconceptions about minimalism, and they miss the point entirely. Minimalism is not about living with nothing. It's about living without excess. It is not about giving up the things you love. It's about removing the things you don't. A minimalist can own books, art, clothes, or even a nice car, as long as those things serve a real purpose and bring genuine value to their life. Another misconception is that minimalism is joyless or restrictive. In reality, it's the opposite. By clearing away distractions, minimalism creates more space for creativity, relationships, rest, and peace of mind. It's not about what you lose, but what you gain. Minimalism doesn't ask you to sacrifice happiness. It asks you to redefine it. And once you do, you realize that happiness was never hidden in things. It was always within you. Minimalism may feel like a modern trend, but its roots stretch deep into history. Across cultures and centuries, people have discovered that living with less often leads to living with more clarity and purpose. In ancient Greece, philosophers like Diogenes challenged the idea that wealth or possessions were necessary for happiness. He famously lived in a barrel, owning almost nothing, to prove that freedom came from detachment. In Japan, Zen Buddhism shaped an entire aesthetic around simplicity. Empty space, clean lines, and intentional design became spiritual practices, not just artistic ones. Even in Christianity, monastic traditions emphasized modest living, teaching that excess could distract the soul from what truly matters. Fast forward to the mid-20th century, when artists and architects revived the idea through minimalist design. Buildings, paintings, and even music embraced the principle of less is more. But beyond art and design, the philosophy of minimalism continued to resonate with people searching for meaning in an increasingly complex world. Today, minimalism isn't confined to monasteries, art studios, or temples. It's a lifestyle embraced by people from all walks of life: students, parents, CEOs, and creators, each seeking the same thing: freedom from the weight of excess and peace in simplicity. So why do so many people adopt minimalism as a way of life? The answer is simple: because life today is overwhelming. Our homes are overflowing with clothes we don't wear, gadgets we don't use, and decorations we don't even notice anymore. Our calendars are crowded with obligations, and our minds are cluttered with endless notifications, reminders, and distractions. Minimalism offers a way out. It teaches us that we don't need to chase everything the world throws at us. Instead, we can pause, breathe, and choose what truly deserves our attention. By stripping away the excess, we create room for what actually matters: time with loved ones, moments of silence, meaningful work, and inner peace. People adopt minimalism not because they want to live in emptiness, but because they want to live with focus. They want to reclaim their time, their space, and ultimately, their freedom. In a culture that constantly tells us more is better, minimalism quietly reminds us that better is better. Minimalism isn't just about owning less, it's about living more deliberately. And that's why people all around the world are choosing it, not as a fad, but as a sustainable way of life. At the heart of minimalism lies one simple principle: intention. Every item, every commitment, every choice in your life should serve a purpose. If it doesn't, it's clutter, whether physical, mental, or emotional. Minimalism asks us to flip the question we usually ask. Instead of, "Can I live without this?" we ask, "Does this add value to my life?" That small shift changes everything. Suddenly, a closet isn't judged by how much it holds, but by how useful and meaningful each piece is. A calendar isn't measured by how busy it looks, but by how much joy and progress it brings. Another core principle is freedom from excess. When we own too much, we spend more time cleaning, organizing, maintaining, and worrying. Our possessions end up controlling us instead of the other way around. But when we simplify, we reclaim our time, energy, and focus for what really matters. Minimalism isn't about deprivation, it's about clarity. It's the practice of cutting away the noise so the signal can shine through. And when we live with intention and freedom, we discover that life doesn't get smaller, it actually becomes much bigger. Think about your phone. It's probably filled with hundreds of apps, most of which you haven't opened in months. Every time you unlock the screen, notifications pull your attention in 10 different directions. Minimalism here doesn't mean throwing your phone away. It means removing what doesn't serve you, deleting unused apps, turning off unnecessary alerts, and keeping only what adds value can transform your phone from a source of stress into a tool for focus. Or take your closet. Studies show most people wear only about 20% of their clothes 80% of the time. Yet we often waste precious minutes each morning deciding what to wear. A minimalist wardrobe, a few pieces you truly love and use, saves time, energy, and mental bandwidth every single day. Even our homes are perfect examples. A cluttered desk can drain focus, while a clean and simple space invites creativity and calm. The less you see, the less you stress. Minimalism in practice isn't about living in emptiness. It's about designing your environment so it supports you instead of overwhelms you. And once you apply it to one area of life, you'll find the ripple effect touches everything else. Minimalism rests on a few core values that guide the way it is practiced. The first is simplicity, the ability to strip life down to what is essential. Simplicity doesn't mean poverty or denial. It means choosing clarity over chaos. It's asking, what can I remove so that what's important can shine brighter? The second value is freedom. When you let go of excess possessions, you free yourself from the burden of maintaining, protecting, and paying for them. True freedom comes not from owning everything, but from no longer being owned by the things you have. The third is intention. Every item, commitment, or relationship in your life should exist for a reason. Minimalism reminds us that saying yes to what matters often requires saying no to what doesn't. Finally, there's gratitude. Minimalism teaches us to stop chasing what we lack and instead appreciate what we already have. Gratitude turns not enough into more than enough. Together, these pillars, simplicity, freedom, intention, and gratitude, form the foundation of minimalism. They aren't rules to follow rigidly, but guiding lights that help us build a life less cluttered and more meaningful. Minimalism is more than a lifestyle trend. It has strong roots in modern psychology and mental health. Studies consistently show that clutter increases stress and anxiety. A crowded room overwhelms the brain with too many signals, making it harder to focus, process information, and even relax. By simplifying our spaces, we give our minds room to breathe. Psychologists often link minimalism to the practice of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, where patients learn to challenge unhelpful patterns of thought. Just as we declutter a room, we can declutter our thinking, removing unnecessary worries, expectations, and comparisons that don't serve us. Another modern connection is mindfulness. Minimalism naturally encourages presence. With fewer distractions, we notice more. The taste of a simple meal, the calm of an uncluttered space, the joy of being with loved ones. It creates the conditions for a quieter, more focused mind. Even in economics and consumer psychology, minimalism plays a role. Researchers find that people who spend less on possessions and more on experiences report higher satisfaction and happiness. In this way, minimalism isn't just about your closet or your home. It's about your mind, your relationships, and your ability to live deliberately in an overstimulated world. Minimalism is not about counting how many things you own or competing to see who can live with the least. It's about asking yourself, what truly matters to me, and what can I let go of so I can make space for it? That question is simple, but its impact can last a lifetime. We live in a world that constantly tells us we are not enough, that we need to buy more, achieve more, and own more to be happy. Minimalism offers a different path. It reminds us that happiness doesn't come from the things we add to our lives, but from the things we choose to keep. When you embrace simplicity, you start to see freedom where you once saw burden. You notice gratitude where you once saw lack, and you find peace not in reaching for the next thing, but in appreciating the space you've created around what already matters. In the end, minimalism is not about less. It's about more clarity, more freedom, more purpose. And if we can learn to live with intention, we may discover that the life we've been chasing has been here all along.